Good evening, folks. We're going to call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. I'm going to read the legal notice.
Hold on a second, Bob.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the owl to pick up. In. That should do it. It wasn't plugged in.
So I think you found it, Chris. Oh, eyes are on. Okay.
Yep.
You know, talk to us. Very good. Okay, I've got 7:02. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Read the legal notice first. Public informational hearing / special town meeting, Wednesday, September 6th, 2023, 7 p.m. Ashford Town Offices, lower level meeting room, 5 Town Hall Road, Ashford, Connecticut. The electors and citizens qualified to vote at the town meeting in the town of Ashford, Connecticut are hereby notified and warned that a public informational hearing and special town meeting will be held on Wednesday, September 6th at 7 p.m. in the lower level of the meeting room of the town office building, in person, hybrid, and virtually via Zoom. Items 1, to receive information on proposed ordinance, expenditures utilizing American Rescue Plan funds totaling $188,370 as follows. Item A, installation of split units at the Ashford Senior Center in an amount not to exceed $70,000. Item B, lost pay, including benefits in an amount not to exceed $12,370. Item C, Milton Memorial Hall, ADA access, front doors in an amount not to exceed $20,000. Item D, Milton Memorial Hall, roof gutters in the amount not to exceed $10,000. Item C, Ashford Housing Authority, to preserve and create new affordable housing opportunities and raise funds to support programs that will enhance the lives of Ashford residents in the amount of $21,000. Item F, Ashford Volunteer Fire Department, automatic defibrillators, 6 units and supplies totaling $15,000. Item G, Ashford Volunteer Fire Department, PPE - bunker gear, 8 sets at a cost of $5,000 per set, totaling $40,000. To receive information on proposed revisions to the Ashford ordinance, tax abatement for dairy farms, orchards, including vineyards, adopted at town meeting on April 26th of 2006. Paragraph 6 of the ordinance currently currently in effect reads, any abatement will continue in force for 5 years or until such time as the farm, orchard, or vineyard is sold, or until such time as the property ceases to be a dairy farm, orchard, or vineyard, whichever comes first. The proposed revision will read, any abatement will continue in force for 5 years, in bold, in 10 years if a renewal application is filed, or until such time as the farm, orchard, or vineyard is sold, or until such time as the property ceases to be a dairy farm, orchard, or vineyard, whichever comes first. Second part of the meeting, Following discussions on the above funding request, the special town meeting will be called to order for the purpose of acting on, one, choosing a moderator for said meeting. Two, to approve the allocation of proposed ARPA funding as prescribed above or previously. Items A through G in the above list will be voted on separately. Item 3, to approve the revisions of paragraph 6 of the ordinance entitled tax abatements for dairy farms, orchards, and vineyards, and for adjournment. Submitted by myself, William Folletti, First Selectman, Roger Phillips, Selectman, and Catherine Silversmith, Selectwoman. All right, well, thank you all for coming. I'd like to start off the meeting by having a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, to receive information on the proposed expenditures utilizing America Rescue Plan funds totaling $188,370. Installation of split units at the Ashford Senior Center. So far, we've got 2 bids in. These would be upgrading the HVAC system at the Senior Center. As many of you are probably aware, the existing systems there are over 25 years old. And while they're not failing, we're running into a situation where they're not keeping up with the proper heating or air conditioning. And our recommendation is, we've called in Stafford Mechanical for one of the estimates, and also Nutmeg Mechanical. We've got them on file. So these funds are being designated for that. Similar purpose as we did in Knowlton Memorial Hall previously, and also the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department. And they seem to be very successful in both of the buildings performing. The split units not only do heating, but they also do air conditioning. Anybody have any questions or comments, or? Hearing none, we'll move in. Lost pay, including benefits, at an amount not to exceed $12,370. We had a department head whose salary was cut, as we perceive it, as a result of COVID and the decline in functioning of that department. We were potentially under litigation on that issue, and we settled with the employee for the amount that's prescribed here. And we understand it's a coverable amount under ARPA. Item C, Knowlton Memorial Hall, ADA access, front doors, in the amount not to exceed $20,000. While we have ADA access to the premises right now, they're outdated. Probably also over 25 years old. They don't meet the standard guidelines. Only one of the doors opens. We're gonna have to redesign and put in a new system there where it meets present code and both doors actually open. We may actually have to replace the doors themselves, but it's one of the things that we're gonna be looking at. Any questions on that? Roger, Catherine, any comment on?
No.
No. Okay, item D is Knowlton Memorial Hall roof gutters. They're failing. It becomes a liability issue. We've got water that leaks down both on the handicap access to the side of the building and also the front of the building, slipping situations. Thank goodness we haven't had any major incidents, but that's what we're trying to avoid. We're presently in the process of getting bids on that. We've got 2 in so far. The high bid is 10,000. So we're looking for those alternatives. We're hoping to get that accomplished before winter sets in. Item E, the Ashford Housing Authority. Jessica, Dennis, I'm going to leave that up to you to give some background and explanation of that.
Sure. Did you want me to come up?
If you would, and
Sure.
just identify yourselves.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Miller. I'm the Executive Director for the Ashford Housing Authority. So tonight, the Ashford Housing Authority and our affiliate, the Ashford Housing Development Corporation, is asking for $21,000. We were here last August and we received money from the town. And so we're looking for an additional $21,000 to help successfully kick off our nonprofit and market our nonprofit so that we can fundraise for our needs, which is to expand affordable housing and provide supportive services to Ashford residents in need, specifically rental assistance and other support services that they may need. So this money would go directly to the nonprofit corporation, and it will help us to, like I said, fundraise, market, and then reach donors. And also, we will be having an annual fundraising kickoff event. So that will also help cover that.
Dennis Poitras, and I just wanted to point out, we have been working on 501c3, which we incorporated. We just received federal tax approval, so we're official now. And that
Congratulations.
helps us tremendously. So this is all part of that. It's a lot of work that's come a long way to get here.
Yes, we've been busy this past year since last August when we were here. And so one of the things we did do is successfully get our 501c3 status. And now we are working on a marketing campaign, and we're gonna be working with that this fall, and then hopefully by the beginning of next year, we'll be in full fundraising mode. And like I said, we have different ways that we're gonna fundraise, but really the goal is to inform residents of the needs in town, especially with affordable housing. And we really want the community to come together, understand that we do need more affordable housing. Our target audience would be seniors and disabled. So it'd be specifically housing for seniors and disabled. And then again, we want to just expand services. So we're going to be working with social services in Ashford, senior center, and different other organizations in town that already provide needs. And just expanding on those services, whether it's giving them money to do what they do already, or just helping them out in any way they need help. So transportation is a big concern in town. There are people who do not have a car, and so we want to expand on that as well.
Does anyone have any questions? Roger, Catherine, no? Any questions from the audience? No, not to put you on the spot,
Yeah.
but would you give us your definition of the difference between affordable housing and low-income housing?
Okay, well, affordable housing is defined as housing that's where a person pays only 30% of their income towards either their rent or their mortgage. Low-income housing is affordable housing. Low-income housing, I think people associate that with Section 8. And sometimes that has a negative connotation with it, but low-income housing, in my eyes, is affordable housing. Those people who live in low-income housing are there because they have low incomes. Okay, they make 30% or 50% of the area median income. So the area median income in Ashford right now is $99,800. So if you're making $25,000 a year, you're very limited in where you can live. Okay, because most rents, especially in this area, are not affordable. So usually they end up going to bigger towns or cities that have larger complexes. Usually they end up being Section 8. But I would say, and I would argue that low income housing is not a bad thing, and Ashford could benefit from that.
Kevin?
So if I understand correctly, the only difference between affordable housing and low-income housing is that low-income housing is sometimes subsidized by Section 8.
It is subsidized, yes.
It's subsidized,
Subsidized,
and that is the only difference. Everything else is based upon your income.
right,
Thank you.
yes.
Anybody have any other questions? Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.
Okay, Paul, I guess you're gonna be up. Ashford Volunteer Fire Department, automatic defibrillators, 6 units and supplies. And you might as well do item G while you're up there, PPE with bunker gear, 8 sets. Totaling $40,000.
All right, Paul Varga, the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department Fire Chief. So we were here in August as well, in the initial round, and we requested funds for durable medical supplies. The AEDs were not on the list. During that time, we had discovered that the AEDs were going to be at end of life at the end of this year. We were looking for alternative funding. In the past, we had gone to other agencies in town to get funds. And that's been a slow process and hasn't happened yet. When Bill asked me if there was any additional items that we needed, those were obviously on the top of the list. So we currently have 5 units that will life out at the end of the year. I'm actually working with the manufacturer to get some additional time on them. They're coming in next month to do their services.
Could you speak a little louder?
Yep, so hopefully we can get a few more months out of them, but they need to be replaced. The additional unit is, at the previous round, we asked for funding for our service truck. Our service truck is currently the only apparatus that doesn't carry an AED. Once we get the new one in service, we would like to put an AED on that unit. The role of that truck is gonna change slightly to not just be a forestry truck, it'll respond to other incidents, wires down, medical calls at a house if the ambulance is unavailable on the phone. So that's the AED. And then the bunker gear, there's a 10-year lifespan on bunker gear for interior firefighters. And we have several new members, one of which is sitting right there, who I want to send to school, and we don't have anything that fits him because he does not the same size as me. So what we generally do is we take the older gear that is within the 10 years and send those people to school and fit them up with it. But that means that somebody else has to be replaced, and all of our gear is approaching, all of our interior guys' gear and girls is approaching the 10-year mark. One thing that the department hasn't done in the past probably 10 years is a substantial purchase of PPE. We were buying 1 or 2 sets a year, kind of piecemeal, if you will. That was previously mine, taken over. It's hard because obviously when you buy 8 sets all at once, all of a sudden you have a big chunk that are due at the same time. But at the same time, we need to have the people that are gonna do the firefighting and public service be protected. So, and the old gear doesn't get thrown away. We use it for exterior operations or for EMS operations. It's still legal for that until it actually deteriorates to the point where you can't wear it anymore. So that's basically it.
When you say EMS operations, what do you mean?
Auto accidents. We still have to wear protective gear when we extricate somebody or, if there's a hazmat situation where they, like, for instance, my new member there, or even my lieutenant, like, they can't go into certain areas, like, we have hot zones, warm zones. So we still have to have protective equipment on, we just can limit their exposure, or they're limited in exposure. So we do recycle it. And we've been working a lot, in fact, Lieutenant Danville has been one of the people on the project going through all the bunker gear to see where we stand with everybody. And we are trying to recover some from members who have since left.
Can the person listening in on Zoom
Can
here?
you hear me? Because I'm kind of.
Yeah, your voice keeps fading down.
Thumbs
I
up.
also have a comment about this one. First of all, the request that you made, I know that we've been very generous to fire department with the ARPA funds. And I have to commend the new management chief for looking at your outdates on your equipment and getting things, trying to get things where they ought to be. And hopefully on a regular basis.
Yeah.
What I'd really like to see is, I'd really like to see those things come into your budget plan each year. I know every time the fire department has brought forth a budget, when I was Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, you've always pared it down as much as you can.
Yeah,
And I think that's hurt you in the end. And I think the public needs to understand that these are life-saving, this is life-saving equipment. And for both the victim and the firefighter.
and you're 100% right, paring the budget down as much as it, and as you know, I sit on the Board of Finance now. As much as it means we can reduce the tax burden, it also means that something takes a hit, so to speak.
Well, the other thing too is when there are items that are of a larger size like this, that they can be part of the capital improvement plan. And that money is not taxed. It's already
It's already-
taken care of, so you're not getting taxed for that. But I'd really like to see that in your next budget and for all of us to make clear that this is important stuff. And, just get the public to make sure that they support it and they understand where that increase is coming
So
from.
just so that people understand and have people here who are with me, but, that we had, I should say, the department had other items that we pared it down because, again, there has to be a priority list.
Yeah.
And these are items that we have to have to do the job we do.
This is
It
life-saving
is
equipment.
for everyone.
Like I said, I'd rather see it as part of your budget or part of the capital improvement plan. The ARPA funds, we have a limited amount of ARPA funds. I'm pretty sure social services will be coming back to us, asking for funds too. And, we've been doing as much as we can for the fire department.
We appreciate it. And
I know.
I'm sure the people who we go to visit appreciate it too.
So if the people,
Unfortunately, I have to.
so if the people there here can convey that to others, that would be a good thing.
Any other questions?
Is this comments or just questions right now?
You can make comment.
Great.
Okay.
So I am here on behalf of my mother, Claire LaMonica, who is an emergency room nurse. She is currently doing the best she can to get straight here from a shift in Worcester, to talk as a true expert about life-saving equipment, such as this. Defibrillators in particular come down to the minutes. And so any conversation involving the fire department and equipment, I think it is critical that we all recognize the incredible volunteer fire department we have. These people who are not paid to run into extremely dangerous situations. And I think the bare minimum we could do is to always prioritize what they consider to be necessary equipment. So I would hope that there is not a single moment's hesitation to give them the 6 defibrillators and the 8 sets of bunker gear. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of an emergency room nurse who wish she were here to drill this point home, so you'll have to accept it from me instead. But if it came down to it, I think it would be very important to pare back everything else asked for through ARPA fundings to make sure that we get the fire department every single thing they ask for. So I want to thank our fire department for being true heroes. For those of us unlucky enough to have had to witness it in person, we really have the best of the best here in Ashford. So thank you for what you do, and I hope that we as a public will always back expenditure requests like these 2 very rational requests. No, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or any comments? No? Paul, thank you very much. Item 2, to receive information on the proposed revision to the Ashford ordinance. Tax abatement for dairy farms and orchards, including vineyards, adopted at the town meeting on April 26th of 2006. I won't get into this, we've already read it over, but basically, this was a request that came forward to us originally by our prior assessor, and then implemented and further recommended by our existing assessor. Several months ago, the Board of Selectmen was within our authority and the recommendation of the assessor. made some modifications in the application process to streamline it and clarify it. Basically what this does, and Lynn's not able to be with us. She happens to be enjoying herself on vacation this week. But this is to bring the ordinance in line with the language on the existing application. And we had recommendations from both the, as I mentioned, the previous assessor and our existing assessor. So our board is supportive of this, although they can speak for themselves, and I would encourage passing this just so that both documents are coordinated. Catherine, Roger, anything?
Yeah, I do. I'd like to apologize to the Ag Commission. I know that some time ago you brought forth something to us and then pulled it back, looking at some changes to the ordinances. And I want to make sure that as we go forward that we collaborate with you. This might have been a missed opportunity. However, this is a very simple change to get things into alignment. So just want you to know that we are still thinking of you and hope to collaborate with you going forward.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I'm going to close the from the audience. No, I'm going to close the public hearing portion of this meeting. And at 7:26, I'm going to convene the calling of the special town meeting. First item on the agenda is the choosing of a moderator for said meeting.
Nominate Bill Politi.
There's a second.
The second was Dennis?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor of the nomination on the floor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Item 2, to approve the allocation of the ARPA funding as presented previously. Items A through G. And what is required, we'll have to vote on these individually. So what I would ask for on each of the items that I call is a motion to approve or disapprove with a second. So I will ask for a motion for the installation of split units at the Ashford Senior Center in an amount not to exceed $70,000.
So moved.
We have a motion that's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any further discussion, questions? Hearing none, I call for a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Item B, lost pay, including benefits in the amount not to exceed $12,370. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion that's been made and seconded, or any further discussion, comments? I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion that's on the floor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, folks. Item C, Knowlton Memorial Hall, ADA access, front doors in the amount not to exceed $20,000. We have a motion that's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second? Any comments or questions? All in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item D, Knowlton Memorial Hall, roof gutters in the amount not to exceed $10,000. Do I have a motion? Dennis moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Item C, Ashford Housing Authority to preserve and create new affordable housing opportunities and raise funds and support programs that will enhance the lives of Ashford residents in the amount of $21,000. We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any further discussion or questions?
Sorry, who was the
The
second?
second is right up here in front.
Your name, you know,
Francis.
Francis,
Thank you, Brad.
thank you. We have motions been made and seconded. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Item F, Ashford Volunteer Fire Department, automatic defibrillators, 6 units and supplies totaling $15,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Dennis has made a motion. We have a second.
Second,
Your name, sir, I'm sorry.
Vinny Lamanca.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call a motion, a vote on the, all in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Item G, Ashford Volunteer Fire Department, PPE and bunker gear, 8 sets, at $5,000 a set, $40,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Dennis has moved. Have a
Second,
second, Mr. Monica again. Are there any questions or, hearing none? All in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much. Item 2. We approve the revisions of paragraph 6 of the ordinance entitled tax abatements for dairy farms and orchards, including vineyards. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Dennis moves, do I have a second?
Second.
Paul seconds, any further discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion on the floor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, folks. I've got 7:32 and I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move for adjournment.
Paul, second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you very much for taking the time and coming out, and supporting your community. And thank you, folks, for all that you do.
yeah.